you. So, like in this era of MySpace and iTunes and 50 sites you can sell your music on. I mean, do bands need to have a record label?
It depends. I guess it depends on what level a band is at. I mean, there's various stages that bands go through in their career, and I think in the early stages most bands think they need a record label, but I tend to differ. And most bands usually want a record label at the stage they're at is purely out of sometimes out of laziness or not understanding what to do next, or a bit of lack of education, or both. So I think bands don't need a record label to get themselves established and build a basic fan base and learn about the industry. But bands do need record labels when they need hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a massive brand. That's debatable, but in my experience, I've found that you get to a certain level with a band, and your finances are stretched, and if you do want to sell a lot of records, and you want to build a brand that's worth a lot of money, then you need a lot of money invested to build that brand, like any brand outside the music industry or within the music industry.
Tim, you deal with a lot of labels. Do you think maybe too early in the game bands are thinking, oh, I've got to get a deal, I've got to get a label, whether it's indie or major?
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I mean, there's pros and cons of it, I guess, but I think at the level that you guys, or most of you guys might be at, like at this stage, you don't really need one. I think you want to try and do it independently initially. That way you have full creative control over everything. It is going to be a lot harder to get into those doors because you don't know who to talk to at Fox FM or Triple J or whoever. So I think initially you want to just be if you're at the stage where you've got something recorded and you're playing some shows, then just put something together and do it yourself initially. I think labels are a big financial help, but I don't think at the early stages it's worth doing.
How about like indie labels though that mightn't be such a big financial help? Do you think? Obviously, for a long time, bands have wanted to sign to a major. Indies are now more prevalent. Do you think bands should take the same approach with indie labels? Hang off a bit, do their own thing first. Anyone want to?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say really. I mean, indie labels. Well, most of the labels we deal with aren't really artists. Well, that I deal with, they say aren't really artist labels. The indie labels that I deal with are more, compilation and world music and things like that. So it's kind of hard for me to say really on that.
Sorry, Jamie.
Well, I think it's going to happen. People are going to look for you. If you're a good band, you're out there touring, and you've got fans everywhere, it's going to happen. It's not something that you have to jump into now and think, oh, I have to be on a label. I think it's going to happen for them just as a process of playing gigs. Like if they're out there and performing, people are coming along, it'll eventually evolve that way for them. And then they'll have their own label.
Yeah. I don't think you have to be on a major label though. Like I think the indie labels are getting noticed a bit more, and the indie music is getting noticed a bit more.